Hi, my name is Jose Parra. Today we're going to be looking at my final project. My final project is a text-based game where depending on your decisions, it can lead you down a narrative path or it can lead you on a path where you'll encounter an enemy and you can interact with them. The biggest challenge or hurdle that I encountered with this project was that I had to be careful not to try to take in more than I could handle, meaning that I trying not to be over ambitious or trying to do a lot of the complex code or complex mechanics that we see in standard games or in just standard narratives. And the reason is that not only some of these things would be complicated to code and very complex, but at the same time, we have to think of the allotted time frame that we have to generate or create this game. So my approach to this was that rather than trying to make something overcomplicated, I tried to make something that was simple, but at the same time showcased all the mechanics or a resemblance of the mechanics that I would be using within the a more fleshed out and developed game. By doing this, I can show how I would want certain things to function, but at the same time, not having it be overcomplicated, where it would take a lot of time for it to be coded or to be generated. So now we're going to be looking at what the code actually does. So when you first hit the run, we're going to be greeted with our set of instructions. These instructions always print out letting us know how the game operates and what are the inputs that we can use. So, if we can read along, it's saying that we're usually going to have our options of an input of 1 or 2, and you'll find those numbers after the given statements or your given decisions. The reason we do this is that we can keep a binary decision making instead of having, again, a complex decision making where we can have multiple pathways, multiple storylines, and multiple events. So our first decision here is we can say, do we want to start our game? And as you can see, it's followed by the 1, meaning that if we want to accept this, we're gonna input in our into the system. We're gonna input a 1. If we hit 1, we're gonna be greeted with our player stats and our initializing the story. So the story starts as we reach the castle. Do we decide to knock or open the door? Let's say we decide to knock. We knock, and then now that triggers the next story, the next story component. And the next component says, as we knock on the door, the floor beneath us falls. We hit our heads and we're knocked out for several hours. We wake up in a room or in a strange laboratory, and do we decide to leave the room, our first decision, or wait until someone comes back? Let's say we want to say that we don't want to leave. We want to stay until someone comes back. If we hit 2, then that's going to be doing that decision. If we hit 2,
Game over.
we hit this mechanic of say it says no one ever came and we died. So game over. And we have this built-in mechanic that even if you reach a game over, it's going to ask you, do you want to play again? By hitting yes or typing in yes into the do you want to play again, we'll be greeted up again by the beginning of the game, the instructions. So if we say again, do you want to play the game? 1 for yes. Do we knock? Let's knock. We fall. Instead of stay in the room, which we know we're going to die, we can hit we are going to leave the room. So then, as we leave the room, it says, as we reach for the door, it slams open and we see a zombie. The zombie notices you and is prepared to attack. What do we do? Do you attack or try to reason with him? Let's say that we are going to attack. So we attack, and this is where we're going to start a combat. Do we attack or do we run away? And it prints out the damage that we did and the damage that we took from this enemy. As we see at the beginning, we had 100 health and we do 15 damage. So, from what we can see is we can see that the enemy also has 100 health and it does 5 damage. So let's say we're going to continue fighting because we can beat someone that does 5 damage. So we hit 1 again. So now again, we're doing this counter where it's counting the amount of health that we have and the amount of health they have until one of us reaches 0. So we attack again, we hit 1, we attack again 1, and so forth until we reach that mechanic here where we're at 70 HP and they are 10. Let's say we're going to attack one more time just because we know the next one is going to take out the enemy. We can see that we took still the 5 damage, but now the enemy died. And we're followed along by, we are killed by you killed the zombie. You walk down to the room into an empty hallway and you encounter a zombie. Do we decide to fight or reason with him? Let's say we're going to decide to reason if we get lucky enough. So we decide to hit reason.
Game over.
And for this one, it leads to an even better game decision. We say that it was led to a misunderstanding, and then we end up leaving and winning the game. And we say game over. And again, we're greeted with the play again, so if you want to see and explore some of the other decisions that you can lead to.